will be able to, who is released from the 3 locations currently identified by the Illinois Department of Corrections in Kewanee, at Logan, and at Murfreesboro, will have their own Illinois WorkNet accounts. And then professionals, managers, and executives of our core partner organizations through the workforce system will also have access. Natasha or Tammy, if you have any other introductory comments, go ahead.
Okay, Tammy, did you have anything?
No, we're good. Go ahead and
Okay.
start the presentation. Thanks.
All right. So as Mark said, to have access to the tools, what we'll need to do is we start out with having an Illinois WorkNet account. An Illinois WorkNet has resources to help individuals and employers reach their training and employment goals. We have different everything like from exploring careers, training, qualifying for jobs, like getting a resume together, job openings, networking, and there's a variety of tools and resources that are available. And so the orange side is primarily for individuals and employers. And then we have a whole other side to WorkNet, which is the partner side. So I'm at illinoisworknet.com. I am already logged in. If you don't have an account, you can set up, there'll be a setup button so you can set up your account. And then you'll see there's this icon for partners. So I just click on the icon for partners and it flips me over to the partner side, which is our blue side. And we have a variety of resources. You'll see the menu changes for some resources to assist partners. And then if you scroll down, then to the areas where it says program guides for partners, one of the things we do is we put together, we have a standard format for putting together lists of resources and so forth. So when you go to the partner guide, you can access the tools directly from this link. And we have to give you access to this tool, so we'll talk about that in just one moment. But the overall setup for the partner guide, and the reason I'm showing you the partner guide is kind of like your go-to place to find updates and instructions and guidance. So we have our partner guidance area, which includes articles that are linked to instructions, and if we have any specific items for like webinars, we can add those to those articles as well. We have the partner training materials and videos, so we can add this video just like we have these others that are here with the list of supporting resources and so forth. And then go back to the next one. We update that one. And then we have the full list of resources. And so one of the things that you'll notice on this full list of resources is that we have the first area is guidance. So these are different types of articles. And as we move forward, I had some areas kind of like they're just technically like gray text. But it's something that, as a group, we should discuss to find out if technical assistance is needed in those areas. But then you'll see there's links here for articles as well. The articles are kind of like your executive summary of the overall process. And then we have different types of instructions. And again, some of these grayed out areas, I've left them there just to have discussion on let people know that those documents are coming because we're either finalizing the tools or finalizing a process. And then we have some additional resources. So as we move forward, our standard process is to have technical assistance webinars. So if there's any types of technical assistance that you feel that you need, we can make we'll take that feedback for suggestions, and we can organize it so that we have a subject matter expert have talk about that particular topic. And then any of those additional resources, we'll put them under the more resources page. And then we have our partner tools updates. So you'll see that there's some, we let you know when there's new releases or updates to the existing tools. And then we have our upcoming events. And so as we continue to build out those technical assistance webinar topics, then we can start adding those to this upcoming events schedule. And then, of course, we have a record of our past events. So before I jump into the tools, I want to just kind of show the overall process. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So the very first thing is to set up the staff. So we already have groups of groups within Illinois workNet, and when I refer to the word of, when we refer to the term of groups, what we do is we'll have our Kewanee group, our Logan group, Murfreesboro group, and then we can identify either DOC staff or, like the LWEA partners, other LWEA partners. If we need to divide those groups up later on because of different needs, then that's completely fine. But what we use when we say the word groups is that is a way to organize our partners and give them access to the appropriate information in Illinois workNet. Right now, we have our groups with Department of Corrections. We have our other LWEA partners, which is a combination of the other areas, and so they all pretty much have the same access. But if there's a need moving forward that we need to only be able to allow certain types of partners access to tools, then we can, we can add those other groups so that we can hide certain types of information from that shouldn't be displayed. The next step is after we get our staff into the system, then we need to enroll or add the offenders to the system. So we have Department of Corrections provides the list of offenders that are that provided an orientation, and then they put the offenders into the system, and there's a pretty simple form of the information that needs to be entered. And what the system is going to do is going to check to see if they already have an Illinois workNet account. And if they already have an Illinois workNet account, it's going to match it up to their existing account. And if it doesn't, it creates a new account. And this has really been helpful because our offenders, many of them, cannot have email addresses. And so this allows you to be able to enter the person and create an Illinois workNet account without an email address. And because Illinois workNet does require an email address, so this is kind of like the workaround to get them into the system. This is also a way that assigns the appropriate offender with the appropriate group. So Kewanee will only see Kewanee's offenders, same with Murfreesboro and Logan. If you're a super user, you see everything. We also have a set of tools to help with, kind of walking through, collecting the information. There are some areas that are face challenges because the offenders can't access computers. So we've tried to create tools that will collect the information to help put them with the right training programs, as well as having our partner staff identify that they've completed like a resume, or they have them in IJL, or if there's different types of information that was collected along the way to identify different support services that they may need. Those can be identified in the system as well. And so you'll see this is the checklist. And then we also have a career plan where we identify the different services that are provided, and then an area for outcomes. And then across the system, we use the information that was collected up here to populate dashboards and reports. And then we also have case notes that allow the partners to document case notes, but then also can use that as a message to communicate with other partners and still have a record of it within the system as well. Okay, so let me close those out. Any questions so far? Okay. If you don't have an Illinois WorkNet account, there's instructions here for becoming a partner, and there's also instructions here for requesting access to the returning citizens partner tool. So those are right here at the very part of like getting started. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump in. So let's pretend that I clicked this link right up here. So I go to my partner guide. I already have access to the tools. I click on this. This actually goes to production. I'm gonna go to test. So if I click here, and it opens up the tools for returning citizens. This is our customer support center. And we have, you know, where you can just filter by, you know, start typing, and then you'll see the people that are in here. So I can filter by name, Department of Corrections number, and filter the list by start and end date. This was really helpful for those who are trying to determine like at what point is a good, like the sweet spot, I guess you could say, of putting them into certain programs. If you have access to more than one location, you can filter by the institution. In this case, I have a partner account that only has access to the T1. So hold on a second. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so when we come here, we have a list of customers that are already entered into the system. And then if you want to add a customer, you click Add Customer, and you just simply have to they would be associated with your organization, the group that you've been associated with. The Department of Corrections number is required. We confirm the Department of Corrections number because that's a really important number of how they search and identify individuals. Then we have our first name, last name. We have a social security number. Now this is not required at this point in time because we know this is sometimes a challenge to get this information, but we do make it available because it's just a even better way to check the system to make sure that they don't already have an account. We have date of birth, county of commitment. With the county of commitment, you just click on it and you can select multiple counties. If you're like, oops, I didn't want that one, hit the X and it goes away. You can add it again. We have our date for mandatory supervised release. We have the county. You only click one county for the county, MSR county, and for the list of offenses. So you can add as many here as needed. I know there was a comment from one of the other areas that sometimes this didn't always match up to exactly what their offense was, but this list was provided by the Department of Corrections. So, you know, if we need to make any changes to that, we just need to go back to Department of Corrections and see what, you know, needs to be added to that list, or if we need to make changes. And then their enrollment date. So we know that many have been working with these individuals for a while in some cases, and so you can backdate enrollment date. Don't put it in advance. So okay. So once you add them, then they automatically populate the system. Excuse me. Now this is a customer, like a group level information. To go into the customer level information, you click on the name of the individual. And then you'll see their customer level information. And so what we've learned from doing some past projects is we like to provide an overview page we've had quite a few discussions with the people, who've been providing input on what should be included in these tools. And so this is our overview page, and let's see here. When you add a person, they automatically go to active. I just happened to click the first guy on the list, but when you have the person, they're automatically go into the site as active. Once they are exiting the program, you would choose exit, and it could say withdrew from the program, transferred to a different institution, released to MSR, discharged, or other. And so when you add that information, you can see the participant history. So in the case with some of the exit areas, you'd be prompted to enter a case note. For example, if you chose exit, other exit. Once that section is done, you'll see the status is marked complete. We have an integrated resource team. And this will be especially important, I believe, whenever it comes to connecting the individual, the offender, with their LWIA partners for where they're returning to. So we're still narrowing, getting the specifics on that, handoff to those other folks. But what they'll be able to do is have access to the system. We have this scheduling tool that's right here, and we can schedule those individuals, with an appointment. So once they're released from the institution, then they can know that they have an appointment that's already scheduled. Then we can add that contact person to the integrated resource team, and that would give them access to each of these individuals. For example, if you have people that are coming from Murfreesboro, not everybody in LWIA 18 or something like that needs to be able to see everybody in Murfreesboro. They only need to see the people that are going to LWIA 18 from Murfreesboro. And so you can see the list of partners that have access to this person or have been added as a team member. So the overview page gives an overview of the checklist, the career plan, and the outcome status. Then you can see the 30-day review history. Now each of these you'll see this one in particular is a repeat that's on the checklist. So I can either get to the checklist from clicking the link or one of those other tabs that was on that page, or the tab at the top. Multiple ways to get there. And you'll see the list is at the top. And it says, okay, I already completed the DOC profile information. So we'll take a look at that. It's already completed. You can see I have my corrections number. This was already set up, so you won't be able to change that. You would need to have like a super user or contact us to change the location. You can see their offender status, the date, county, and then it automatically generates the LWIA based on the county. So for each of these, just click on edit and update the information. You see it says complete the profile information that can be synced with IWDS. If you hit not complete, it takes you to that section, and you can see the information that's been provided. We have first name, last name, social number. You only see the last 4 digits of social, email, all kinds of stuff. So you can enter that information. If you have access to IWDS, you can search for customers or submit the information to IWDS. The next one is exploring careers. And so we have it set up so that we ask, specific questions. Is it useful to identify your goals and how you want your life to be once you're working, so they can answer those. So the idea is just to provide some questions that you can use, and we have the interest and skills results here. But I could also, if I did a paper version, I could just enter those into the system just like that as well. And so The idea is that you collect this information, have this discussion, so you can help them with identifying the training programs that they want to go into, but then also any support services that they might need. So anyone, any of the partners can access and do this at any time. It's not restricted by anybody. So the other positive is that once you do this information, you'll everybody has access to be able to see the results. So you're not duplicating the effort. You're not asking the same questions, more than once when it comes to different partners with working with those individuals. Same thing with job search preparation. We can see, for example, this one, register with the Illinois Job Link, who confirmed this was complete. Some other suggestions, upload a letter of conviction. That's helpful for job interviews and when discussing charges. So if there's other things that need to be on this checklist, feel free to let us know what those should be so we can include that information. We have an area for transition for release. So we have, you can add a potential contact, and you can add another potential contact, and you can add another. So this is helpful whenever you're working with them and trying to find support services or trying to, make sure, find places, for them to get a job.
Hello.
Hello? I think there's some background noise.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second. I'm here.
I'm just muting that for right this moment. If you'd like to be unmuted, just go ahead and type in the chat. Okay, and then we also have an area for scheduling an appointment with the receiving LWIA. So I'm going to go ahead. So, also this can be printed. So the idea is that whenever they leave the institution, they have all this information that they can take with them as well. It's going to stay in their file, so any of the partners can easily access this information if they have access to the tools. Okay. And this is the form. This is actually, I know that I'm on test. I can see that that's what Jonathan is a new feature, but it's not released yet. And we also have a career plan. And the career plan is pre-populated with a list of steps. So you'll be able to see, if they've completed initial assessment, orientation, cognitive behavior, do they need to complete the high school equivalency? Are they receiving training in the facility, outside the facility? Is it an apprenticeship? And then I'll be adding some more of those services as well. If you'd like to go through the process for the career plan has a variety where you can see their overall different assessments. So if you would like to, update some of their information, their assessments with, based on whatever you identify as their support service needs, you can feel free to do that. We have goals already identified, but it doesn't mean that more can't be added. They can be. And then we have a step for adding steps. So if you needed to add a step to a goal, you could say, oh, this one right here. You click, find a step, and it adds it to this list, and you click on the little edit pencil, and you can add it to a goal, enter the required information, and save it, and it will be added to that area in the customer's plan. So this is the partner view. The customer, once they are released, or if they already have access to the internet, then they would have their own view of this plan. I mentioned before that we have case notes. So you can add a case note, you know, maybe it's placement, and then topic, you know, text. You can save it as send it as a worknet message to the individuals that are working, like, so the other partners. You could send it as an Illinois worknet message and an email. So whatever emails in the system will be sent to them. This case note would be sent to them via email, or you could just save it as a case note without sending an email. In this case, the partner or the person is marked as released to MSR. So you could send this to the customer. If they are not released, then they won't be able to access their messages. And then you can, you know, send it to the other partners as well. Or you could just save it as a case note. So once you save it as a case note, it gives you the information that you just entered, how it was sent, who sent it, when they sent it. And then you go to the case note summary page, and you can see the different case notes that were sent. You can add a case note from here, export it, filter it. And then, you know, we have an outcomes page, which is a summary page where you can see the services, goals, measurable skills gained, for the different information that's been added. We always encourage you to success stories. And then again, this is a summary page for assessments. We also have a summary page for optimal resume, which if they've used the resume made tool in Only WorkNet, then you can see different like resume, portfolio, cover letter that they have saved in the system. If you have any uploads, so maybe that letter of conviction, that is something that could be uploaded into the system as well. Okay, so that was a quick high-level overview. Are there any questions? Because I went over it very quickly. Or Mark, if you wanted me to cover anything more specifically. Here, I'll unmute. I had one person unmuted. I will unmute you just because there was like some background noise. So you've been unmuted.
Thanks, Natasha. That was a very good orientation to this, and I know we have some vocational rehabilitation people who have used Illinois WorkNet. For others, perhaps at DRS and others with other partner organizations, it may be newer or something that has not been used. When a core partner like Division of Rehabilitation Services uses a tool like this, it may be something that would become interactive for some of you, and you would want to use it and enter information, while for others it may be an opportunity to look up information to see what has happened with an incarcerated offender before that person becomes a returning citizen. So the three local areas that are involved are 13, where the Kewanee Life Skills Reentry Center is located in Henry County, and then also there's a reentry program for adult females at Logan Correctional Center. Not everybody at Logan Correctional Center is in the reentry program, but there's a cohort there, and that is in local workforce area 20. It's in Logan County, just north of Springfield. And then the other local area is 25 Murfreesboro Life Skills Reentry Center is a satellite facility of Pinckneyville, and it's west of Carbondale, west of Marion, Illinois. So I know that many people from DRS have visited Kewanee. That may not be something that has started at Logan or at Murfreesboro. And then as the other thing to point out is a pilot project. This is something that will benefit all 22 local areas around the state as returning citizens go back to local areas. A large percentage will go back to Chicago and the Cook County area, but returning citizens have been identified as going to all 22 local areas, even though in some cases the numbers are small. So this today's webinar is recorded, and Natasha and her team will be preparing a link and posting that so that others may view this and get an orientation as well. This Illinois workNet system is being sponsored by the Illinois Department of Commerce. Tammy, do you have any thoughts or comments, or especially anything that Natasha or I haven't thought of so far?
And if you want to type it in the chat feature, you can do that if you don't have audio. I mean, if you can't talk at the moment.
Anybody else have any questions?
All right. All right. Well, if you do, please feel free to reach out to us. And again, like the very first place that you would go to is to, set up an Illinois WorkNet account. Go to Partners. Go to Returning Citizens. And then on this full list of resources, there's information about becoming a partner and requesting access to the tools. So other than that, you guys get like 20 minutes back to your day. So thank you, everyone.